Hello, how are you? Can everybody hear me? How are you? Let me know, let me know. So this is my first live stream chat through this whole new thing that I'm doing. So please bear with me because it's new to me. It is new. We love new things. So let us see here. Welcome to Adventures of Deanna. I'm Deanna and I am on an adventure to lose over 100 pounds. And I started my journey at 266 pounds and I lost something. And I'm currently 65 pounds down. So that is where I am with my journey. This is the ABCs of weight loss. I started this little series and then I decided that it would be more fun if we did, hey Misty, I am so glad that you are here. And I want to say hello to Mommy Guy and I want to say hello to Inspirational Connect TV. So as I was saying, I started this series and I thought that it would be a lot more fun if we were to do this kind of with a live stream so that we could actually chat about the things and have a great conversation about it and have a little bit of interaction and a little bit of fun. And I just thought it would be so much more, beneficial and encouraging to us if we could do it kind of this way. So that's why we're doing it in a live stream. So I'm super excited. So today we have somebody joining us that I just watched a video last night and I want to touch base on her for a minute because I watched one of her videos last night and it was just so good, so good. So Inspirational Connection TV, she did a video last night on a live stream on affirmations, and affirmations was in letter A, and she did a great video on affirmations. She had 7 different wonderful affirmations that you can use and say. All of them were so good, just really good. And I appreciated it so much watching the video. So it's linked in the description box below. So if you want to check that out after we're done here today, then that would be wonderful. I'm so glad that you think this is a great idea. I hope that, over the next few weeks we get, some more participation. I'm thinking about maybe I can change the time around to see what works for other people. This said on my channel analytics that this was a good time, so I'm hoping that it'll be a good time for people. So yeah, that's what I hope. But on the affirmations, check out Inspirational Connection TV and the video that I have linked in below about affirmations below because it's a good video. Affirmations are something that you're into. So there we go. Okay. So for the letter C, because today we are talking about the letter C, I want to get into that for a second. Hey Carol Ann, hi. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. I'm glad that you joined us for the ABCs of weight loss. Letter C. Is that right? Like, do I need to do it like backwards or something? Or I don't know. So talking about the letter C. So my pal Misty, and your pal too, if you're subscribed to her channel, she guessed it right on last week's video. She guessed change, I believe, for one of those, and I want to definitely talk about change. So regardless, whenever we're on a weight loss journey, it doesn't matter what kind of diet that we're on. There's perceived changes that we need to make while we're on a weight loss journey. So, those changes can be all kinds of things, like fitting an activity into our life, the foods that we eat, when we eat, the beverages that we drink. There's so many different types of changes, and feel free to comment in the comments in the chat, what kind of changes that you've had to make. Hey Shelly, hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us. We're talking about C for change and the changes that we've had to make while we're on a weight loss journey. So really, for me, one of the biggest things that I focus on, you guys know, if you've been around for a while, that I focus on my mind. My mindset is like one of the biggest change that I'm making in my weight loss journey. It's all about changing how I think about different things. So in the beginning, it started with, changing how I thought about exercise. It was something that, I really wasn't so keen to doing. I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't thrilled to do it. And it was like by making small little changes over time, it was something that I've really, grown to love and do and want to become a bigger part of my life. And it's something where when you're focusing only on, weight loss and the scale, sometimes focusing on exercise is like a really great distraction from all of the things that sometimes we think stress us out whenever we're talking about, thinking about food and what we're going to eat and tracking and whatever it is that we have to do. So that was one of my changes that I had to do, but I did it up here first. I did it in my mind. It was all, how did I perceive this and what was my perception of it and how could I think differently about it? And whenever I really just thought about, the mental boost that it gave me, that's whenever it was really like something like, oh wow, I really do actually like this. I feel like it's something worth getting up for. Like I can do it. So while we're talking about change, leave me things in the comments. Like, what other type of things have you had to really make a huge change on? I know that another thing that we think, whenever I hear, we have to make a lifestyle change, what kind of thoughts does that produce for you? When you think about having to make a lifestyle change, what in your life do you think you really have to change? Like, I didn't have to change my job. I didn't have to get rid of my husband. I've got the same friends. I didn't start, getting snakes instead of dogs. So what in my lifestyle has really changed with my weight loss journey? That's the question. That's what I'm looking for. Like, because a lifestyle change sounds just kind of daunting to me whenever I think, oh, I've got to make this huge lifestyle change. Ooh, that's a good one, Misty. I had to change my thought from what I couldn't have to what I could have. That is a beautiful one, because there's so much abundance in what you can have. There's so many wonderful foods that you can eat. There's so much out there that you can explore, and it's not really that you're missing out so much. And I think that whenever we talk, oh, I love this one so much. Oh my God, let me just say, I love this one, because we talk about restriction, and whenever we focus on restriction, that feels, restricting. Like, it doesn't feel good inside. But whenever we think about the things that we can have instead of focusing on the things that we can't, it feels a lot better. It feels easier. It feels doable. So when we change our minds when we change our minds, it makes a big difference, and it empowers us, and it helps us move forward. It helps us to get to our goals. So when I think about changes and lifestyle changes, and I'm making fun that I didn't have to make a lot of changes in my lifestyle, but it's not true. I did have to make, tiny little tweaks to my lifestyle. So for instance, whenever I go to the movie theater, I'm not going to order food the same way that I used to. So that's a small change, but that's like, how many times do I go to the movie theater? Like once every couple of years. I really don't go to the movie theater. If you go to the movie theater frequently, that might be a bigger change for you, but for me it's something that's kind of small. It's really insignificant for that 2 hours to have to modify my food order. I think for some people it has changed their lifestyle because they're now aware of what triggers them into downward spirals, and they try to avoid those things. But I get your point. Well, there you go. See, this is why we're having a conversation, because we have some wonderful points like this. Change their lifestyle because now they know what triggers them into downward spirals. So, for sure, I definitely would say that there are certain things that I've created boundaries around so that they don't trigger me into a downward spiral. So, you guys might not know this about me, but I don't have children, and I am enabled. It's not in the cards for me, but baby showers are not something that I can always handle, and I'm an emotional eater, and a lot of times if I'm not in the right place, and it's like I'm welling up. Do you guys see that? I'm welling up. If I'm not in the right place mentally, if I haven't really prepared myself for the activity, I know that I have to prepare myself for that, or else it's going to trigger me, and then I'm going to be into an emotional eating type of situation, and I'm going to feel uncomfortable, and I'm going to do things that aren't great for me. So yes, definitely, I've changed my lifestyle because there are things that trigger me to go into a downward spiral. So I definitely get what you're saying there. That is a beautiful point, Misty. Hello, Sharon. I was kind of on a rant, so I'm sorry for not saying hello sooner, but hello and welcome to the ABCs of Weight Loss. Today we're talking about the letter C, and we're on change. We are talking about change. We're talking about lifestyle change, and we're talking about the changes that we've had to make in our lives because we're on a weight loss journey. Oh, by the way, am I talking too fast? So change. There's so many different changes, but like we've brought up, number one, it's a lifestyle change because we have to recognize our triggers. We need to, we don't always know where they're coming from either. Like, okay, we're just observing, and there's something, and it triggers us, and we're like, okay, that happened. Now what am I going to do about that particular trigger? What am I going to do next? So we got to make a couple changes, a couple tweaks in how we do things. It might be in our mindset. It might be in awesome. So for some people, it is a change in routine. And this is the thing that they tell people whenever you quit smoking, is that whenever you're in your car and you always drive on the same route, there are certain points in your route that would trigger you to light up a cigarette, and they say, while you're learning, while you're adapting, while you're changing, to change your route. So if you are the type of person who feels compelled to always stop at the gas station to get a snack, a beverage, or whatever, or you feel compelled to drive into that gas station, can you change your route just while you get over that? It's whatever time of day it is, and this is when I always get my treat. What can I do differently? That's something that you can make a small change in, maybe just temporarily, to get over that little getting used to that not being a part of your life at that point in time. yes, we are changing how we engage in food. So for me, I engage differently in food because I'm very mindful. I'm very mindful of if I'm hungry or if I'm satisfied. I'm very mindful to what I put on my plate. I'm very mindful to, if it's protein, if it's carbs, if it's, starches, if it's vegetables. I'm mindful to how it's going to make me feel in my body. And these are all really great positive things. And sometimes when we think about a lifestyle change, it can get this, like maybe sometimes maybe a negative connotation to it, but it's really like this wonderful good thing that makes me feel good. And it gives me energy and it excites me. Isn't that funny, Missy, how we're just triggered? You leave the house, like every time I go to the office, it's like, oh, we're going to the office. We should probably go and get some McDonald's or get some Starbucks. But when I work from home, I don't need those things. I'm perfectly happy without them, but I just automatically get triggered. And it's, a lot of the times it's, calories I don't need. It's food that I don't need. See, that's beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh my God. So change. Oh, I love that. Ugh. And every time I would lose weight, I wanted to treat myself. That one still tricks me sometimes. Yep. We get, this whole reward system. So we have been taught from like such an early age that, hey, Risa Pizza! Whoa! So we were taught from a very young age that food is a reward. We used it for our birthdays, we used it for celebrations, we used it for potty training. A lot of times, our parents would be, oh, are you bored? Do you need something to eat? It was just something that we would treat ourselves with. So that's a huge change, is learning how to celebrate our accomplishments without always having to treat ourselves. And then there's, awesome ways to treat ourselves that aren't necessarily with food. So another thing with change that I want to talk about that is a little bit more difficult to talk about is others. So we are making a lifestyle change, but that doesn't mean that the other people that surround us are making a lifestyle change. And number one, there's the whole, yeah, I've seen you diet before. You're going to do it for a couple of weeks and then you're going to be off. So they're not really buying into the whole change situation. So they're not really acting in a way that you want them to, per se. Then there's also the fear that they have because you're changing, and how's that going to affect them? So the changes that you're making, how's that going to affect them? And that's scary to them. Are they going to lose a friend? Is the world going to be different? Are you going to be judging them? Are you going to be, less fun? Because, you're doing this whole change. So change doesn't just apply to us and our feelings and our thoughts, but it also applies to them. It applies to them too. And, we need to do our best to be somewhat sympathetic to what they're going through. Because, we woke up one day, we decided, I'm changing my life. I'm changing my life. But how does that relate to them? Reassure them that this is a choice that I'm making for me because it helps me feel good. I don't want this to affect our relationship, but I might have to set some boundaries. But I don't want that to change what's going on with you and I. Or maybe you do, because you're like, you know what? You push me too far and I can't deal with it. I've tried to set these boundaries and you're not listening to me. And you know what? I'm important. This is important. I'm worthy. Hopefully they could, Risa, right? I mean, sometimes we have to, tell them over and over and over again. Sometimes it's hard for them to hear. But very nice. Very nice. Misty, hearing about your friend like that. Very, very nice. So, yeah, it's hard. It's hard for our friends to see our changes. And sometimes, we might hear things that they say and take them in the wrong way. Like they didn't really mean to say something in a hurtful or disrespectful way, but that's what we hear. But it came out in the wrong way, or it came out in the wrong tone, or whatever it was, because they're fearful and insecure and hurting and concerned, and they have a lot of feelings that they're trying to process too. So it's hard to, work in this big world that we live in and go through these changes that we're going through. And even though sometimes, they might seem, like little minor changes, but sometimes they're actually kind of big, and they do have, impact on other people. So I wanted to, while we're talking about change, think about the other people and how, they might think. Yeah, Risa says, I think sometimes when you're taking steps for yourself around someone who may have the same problem, it makes them feel guilty. Yeah, that's true. And the thing is that everybody's really big into Enneagrams. Do you guys know what your Enneagram is? Because I don't, because every time I take the test, my Enneagram changes. Like, I'm one month and a different one another month, but I definitely am a people pleaser. So it's very hard for me whenever somebody else, feels that way. Um, it makes me want to choose differently because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Yeah, Miss, you're my kind of friend. You're like, you ask them a million questions, and I'll tell them I'll make whatever they have work for me. Because normally I can find whatever, and make it work for me. Enneagram, Anneagram. It's like a personality test. I don't know why I just spelled that whole thing out. Oh, because you put a question mark. Water break. And yes, I hold my water with two hands like a child. See, there we go. I think I'm a somewhere in there. I think I'm an IN something, but I don't know. So change. Anything else about change that you guys would like to talk about today? So that was my first word, was change. Oh, that's a fun little rabbit hole, Misty, that you can. I'm surprised that you guys don't do that in your job. Talk about enneagrams and all that stuff. Um, so the next word, people pleasing is such a hard thing to work through whenever you are, trying to take better care of yourself. It is such a thing that we have to be aware of and be like, am I making this best in my best interest? Am I making this in my best interest? Because a lot of times we want to do a lot for other people, and we throw what is in our best interest away because we're doing for other people. The next word, moving on. Oh, that's what I was just thinking of, was disc. Disc is the one that I keep getting a different result on. See, there's too many of them. Okay, courage. Courage is the next word for the letter C, and it takes so much courage to lose weight. And I feel like with each reiteration of that, it takes a little bit more courage because I'm getting so distracted by the chat. I'm like, what's a C? um, it takes so much courage, especially at each reiteration of our weight loss journey, because the fear, I think, builds up. So whenever I first lost my weight, I first lost weight in 1998 to 2000. I lost 80 pounds on Weight Watchers. And at that point in time, that was actually the first diet that I'd ever like really gung-ho been like, okay, I'm going to a diet, and I did a program and signed up for it and everything like that. And I made it all the way to goal weight. It took me a year and 4 months. I lost 80 pounds, and but ever since then, after I gained the weight back, it took me a long time to gain the weight back. Actually, I kept the weight off for close to 10 years or more than that. But then each time I would go back, it was like I just couldn't even. It was like I couldn't even get started. It was like that you put the key in the engine and you're starting it. Those were my weight loss journeys, because they would be so like a month, and I would think, oh my God, this is terrible, I can't do it, and quit. Okay, time goes on, and I go for like another month. No, false start, didn't happen. So it took me a long time in order I was really ready to get mentally in the right place. And that's why I think it takes a lot of courage, because you feel like you're going to have those false starts so much of the time. And so I try and think about this as there's no start and there's no end now. Even though I did start back in September of 2019 technically, I don't like to think about that. I think that this is just my life now. This is just the way it's going to be. And to me, it feels a lot simpler whenever I just think about it. It's like, well, how do I live my life a little bit better today? But it does. You have to have the courage to fall until you succeed. That is so true, Sharon. Or to fail until you succeed. I'm still wearing my glasses and I can't read. But the thing is that everything that we do, we've always had to fail before we could succeed in anything. I don't know that there is much in my life that I have just absolutely just been able to do it once and been like, well, I'm a rock star. Look at that. I'm sure that there's an exception to every rule, but we're all going to fail. So that's one less thing that we have to be afraid of. But we just have to have the courage. In what other ways do you think that we need the courage in order to, be on this weight loss journey, to continue on, to whatever? I always feel weird whenever there's like silence. It's like, oh no, silence. But I want to let you guys have time to chat, and I think there might be a delay. So while I wait for you guys to type in about other ways that you think courage is important in a weight loss journey, I want to take a moment for if you are not subscribed to my channel and you are enjoying this, please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on so that you know whenever I post my videos. I do my weigh-in videos mostly on Sundays, and then the ABCs of weight loss is going to be a great series, and we're going to go all the way to the letter Z, and we're currently just on the letter C, so we got lots to go. Ooh. For content creators, it's also the courage to share. That is so true. And then it takes the courage to stand your ground when others aren't supportive and try to sabotage your journey. That is so huge. Both of those are huge. Being a content creator is very scary, and it takes a lot of courage, because you see, other people getting not great comments, and you're doing it publicly, and they I guess by doing it publicly, they have that right to comment, whatever. But it does take, and then everybody, you think your family is bad about telling you, well, did you try this? You're trying to lose weight. Well, did you try this? Well, over here, and did you know that John, he did this, and this girl did that, and have you tried that? So everybody wants to put in their input. So for being a content creator, it is really, really hard because everybody wants to put in their 2 cents on what you should do. And the same whenever Risa says it takes courage to stand your ground when others aren't supportive. It can definitely be. There's always somebody, trying to push food on you. They want you to, go out whenever you don't want to go out. They want to say, exercise isn't important. They kind of snicker. Do you get the snickers? Oh my God. When people snicker at me, like, does that look like somebody snickering? Oh my gosh. Okay, that was fun. It's been really nice in this world of quarantine where you don't see as many people because you've got less people to comment. That's been the one thing. You don't have to defend yourself so much. So if there's a bright side, then there would definitely be that. Oh my, yeah, my mother-in-law, bless her heart. Oh my gosh, whenever we go to visit, she has to buy everything. She's like, there's like fried pies, and then there's like barbecue, and all the sandwiches, and then she's got the pizza, and like her whole entire job. That's everybody was taught in order to be a good hostess, you need to provide food and drink. So they feel like they're just, trying to be a good hostess and make sure that your needs are taken care of. But they don't recognize that, oh my gosh, this is, hard and tempting. And it's really hard to be in the right place. And we're not going to get to this letter for a really long time. So visualization, that's where visualization really comes in handy for me. Whenever I feel like I visualize a situation and I sit down and I prepare for these different roadblocks that are going to come in the way, that really, really helps out to... My dog is barking. There's somebody walking down the street. I'm so sorry. The visualization helps me to prepare for those so that I can have a little bit of strength and I can be a little bit more prepared for what's going to go on and how that I'm going to react to it. So I definitely feel like, but we can't avoid the situations, right? We don't have to be like, oh, I just can't go anywhere. We just have to kind of modify our lives in ways that are, or learn skills really in order to become better. You can hear him. And he's downstairs. He's not even up here. Just find ways in order to and practice those skills and get better at it. Because the thing is, it's like riding a bike. The more you try, the more you do it, the better that you get at it. Same with running. The more you try, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So a lot of these skills like saying no and avoiding temptation and having courage to speak up for what our needs and what our wants are, these get better as we practice. But if we don't practice, as Missy Tarps, bark, 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 said Barnum. I totally lost my train of thought. We're practicing skills. We're using visualization. We're practicing our skills. And we're building up that courage, because the more you face the dragon, the stronger that you're going to get at facing that dragon. It's going to get easier. So we just got to get up and we got to try. And the thing is that most of these things, it's not going to kill us. It's not threatening. It's okay. It's not going to hurt us. we're going to be all right. We're going to be just fine. So that is courage. So 2 C's, we got change and we got courage. And the third one I want to talk about is commitment. Commitment is the best thing that we can do for ourselves whenever we are, really, I steal this from Teresa Keever. She's on YouTube, but weight wellness. We're just looking for our weight wellness. The weight loss journey, it has no end. It's always going to be a journey. Until we no longer have weight, we're going to be on a weight journey of some sort. We're going to be looking at our weight wellness for forever. So it's going to have its ebbs and its flows, and there's going to be times where we don't have to focus as hard, and there's going to be times where we really got to buckle down and figure out what's going on, or where we're kind of going off of what works for our body and how we can lose weight or maintain our weight or whatever it is. But so the commitment, it's like, it's my body, and I say I do to taking care of it, to looking after it, to loving and cherishing it. It's a marriage. It's a marriage. I'm married to this body. And the more that I just look at it as something that, I'm committed to, sometimes other things are going to, be a distraction from that. But I know that it's always something that I'm going to come back to. It's always something. And I'm just committed to that because it's important. It's something that I value. There was a time there whenever I thought that by not addressing my weight was having fun and living life, and it was great not to worry about these things. But in the end it wasn't, because whenever I started gaining the weight, there would be that event that I didn't want to go to, that I wanted to hide from because I didn't like the way that I looked. There would be something that I had to miss out on because I wasn't going to have as much fun because of my weight. There were activities that I couldn't do because of my weight. So by ignoring the issue, by ignoring it, I was really hurting myself. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying life. I was actually numbing myself with food. Then, there's this event and I don't want to go to it because I don't want anybody to see me at that weight. But then I would sit and hide and eat. That's living. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. But commitment, it's a commitment. And it's, I make a commitment to pay my bills. I make a commitment to water those flowers that I bought. I make a commitment to care for my pets. I make all kinds of commitments. All kinds of commitments. So I just made a commitment to myself that this is something that, I'm going to try to do my best for forever. And my best might look like a hot, wet mess. Like some days, like my best is going to look like a pile of puke on the floor, like that bad, terrible, gross, but I know that that's just what it looked like that day, and the next day, I can just get right back to it. But as long as it's a commitment, it's a lot easier than, to me, whenever I'm in this, like, what am I trying to say here? Kind of like the all or nothing thing, like getting back on track. Well, I just wasn't off track. I just had a really bad day. It's kind of the way that I like to look at it. I don't know if that's helpful or not at all, but I kind of just like to think of it as I just really had a bad day, because for some reason, whenever I feel like I have to get back on track or climb back up on that wagon, it's like that's harder to do because my knees hurt and stuff, so I don't want to do that. Anyway, so how is commitment important to you? I'm trying to read through these comments, and man, I want to thank you guys so much for being here today. It is just, I know it was on short notice. I hope that we can build this dream to be something bigger, but it really, really is just so heartwarming to me that you are here, and I appreciate it so much. Okay, so yeah, 6 people are watching and I have 4 likes, so don't forget to like the stream if you like it. Our best varies. I'm all over the place for sure. Mine is so all over the place, all over the place. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it was a pleasant surprise. So I'm going to try and make this a regular series. Hopefully I can continue it this time. This time like really works out well for me. But if I have to move it back, I might have to move it back. But I think that I really want to continue this series as a live because I think that these words are so much more fun whenever we get to have a conversation around them, whenever we get to talk about it, when I get to hear different viewpoints about it. It helps me to really, see different perspectives and ideas. So does anybody else have anything to say about commitment? The one thing that I really like, and I'm going to get out, I don't know why, because that's kind of silly actually, but the one thing I like about habit trackers is whenever you make up a habit tracker, and so this one is just there we go. So it's just like, things that I'm going to do. Whenever you make up a habit tracker and you say, and I like whenever they're hey, so glad you're here. Hello. So glad you're here, Lexi. When I make up a habit tracker at the beginning of the month, it's just for 30 days, this is my commitment. This is what I'm going to do. And I don't have to be 100% at it. It's just saying that that's what I'm going to try to do for the next 30 days. I'm going to commit to doing these things. And that's why I like having a habit tracker. It's just writing it down, thinking to myself, these are the things that I want to do, and then trying my best to get them done. And if I get over an 80 or over a 90, then that's good. I don't have to get 100% at these things. If I get over 80, then I feel like I'm making a win, especially if I'm going for a big change. So if you're going from, I used to drink 3 regular sodas a day to trying to go down to just 1, if you do that, 80% of the time for a month, that's a win. That's really good. And that's what I like about habit trackers is because they can reinforce those changes and those commitments that you're making to those changes. They can help you celebrate that you are winning, because you might think that I had a few days off or I was bad. I didn't do what I said I was going to do, but whenever you look at the data, whenever you look at a habit tracker and you can add it up and say, 80%, I don't know, maybe you think 80%. I know for some people they don't think anything, below 100% is good, but it really is. It really is. And I would work on changing your thoughts around having to be 100%. Sarah got up this morning, or one of these mornings. She posted it on her Instagram. I was like, you go, Sarah. You got up early. Good for you. The thing with making a commitment to a morning plan that I find works really well is to not try to go too big and start really, really small. And then once you have the habit of one thing, then you can stack on that habit. So I think that is helpful. So you just start, if you just wake up 5 minutes early and do one thing, and then the next week or 2 weeks later, then you go 10 minutes and then you add on another thing. And then the next week after that, you might feel like you can move it back a little bit more. That way you can slowly adjust your body to it. It's going to be a lot easier than if you're trying to think about, oh, I need to wake up 45 minutes early so that I can meal prep and do my exercise and do this and do that. So if you just break it down into smaller steps, it's going to be a lot easier to get into the routine of becoming a morning person like me. Except for I think about other people, because I get up at 5, and whenever other people say 4:30, I'm like, how do you get up at 4:30? Like, oh my gosh. See, you're in the beginnings. You're learning to become a morning person. You're learning. You're starting. You're building upon becoming a morning person. And that kind of, whenever we, use words like I'm learning to, I'm becoming, doing these kind of things, it's more of a reinforcement that you're doing it versus I'm not a morning person. I don't do mornings. You don't get up till 8. Oh, I start work at 8. I have to be at my desk at 8. Anything else on commitment you guys want to talk about? You start work at 8:30. You're up at 8 and at your desk working at 8:30. Oh my gosh. It takes me 10 minutes just to feed the pets and water them and let them outside and pet them, and I do have a whole day in before I start work. I love it. But I go to bed at 9 p.m. I go to bed at 9 p.m. What a great, yay. See, this is why I wanted to have a conversation. You guys are amazing. It's just a promise to yourself. If commitment is daunting, that is so good. It's a promise to myself. And that's one of the things that I write in my journal all the time. I keep my promises to myself. Because how easy is it to break a promise to yourself or to break a commitment to yourself, but we'll keep promises for other people, but we don't treat ourselves with that same respect. So yeah, I write down and keep promises to myself. It's just another way of saying it, and I do think it's softer. Man, you got like your whole night ahead of you. You like exercising in the evening, Sharon? Wow. Hi, One Busy Mama. I'm so glad that you dropped in. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I like exercising in the evening as long as it's like right after I get off work, but if it gets much later than that, I don't sleep as well. I need a lot of chill time before my workout and my bedtime. Otherwise, it gets me going. Gonna work out and then eat dinner. I'm gonna go cook dinner because dinner is late today because I did this instead. Normally we would eat dinner about 20 minutes ago. Anything else about commitment? So again, if you're new here, if you're watching this on replay, please subscribe to my channel, turn the notification bell on whenever you post. Leave me a comment down below. What do you think about the 3 C words we did? Change and courage and commitment, all beautiful words, all things that are very important in a weight loss journey, and things that really have a positive impact on our life depending on how we think about them. Hey, it's Pete. Thank you, Pete. I'm just getting ready to end the stream. Again, guys, I just so want to thank you all. See, now I'm getting all these people on here and I want to keep chatting. I'm going to have to move it back, I think. I'm going to have to change the time on this to maybe next week. I think I'm going to try 6 o'clock. Let me know of the comments of the video what time you think would be a good time to do this. If you think I should move it to 6 instead of 5:30. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to end it here, but I do want to really thank you very, very, very much for all coming and participating in the chat and being a part of this conversation. And I'm glad that we could all be here to support one another in this wonderful weight loss adventure that we are in. I will see you guys in my next video on Sunday. As always, it's going to be an adventure. Bye.